Pleasant morning to everyone at UECMM, okay? Let me share my screen. So today, our topic would be, called to be peacemakers. We all know what happened, okay, during the Oscars. It trended afterwards. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars. But the consequences were very great. Not only had he had to apologize to a lot of people, he has to resign from the academy. And if you follow the news, some of his movies were already canceled. So the consequences are a lot if we don't know how to control our anger. But today, I'm going to focus on one thing. Not only should we, learn to control our anger, but how can we be peacemakers? Matthew 5:9 says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." So I hope that through our lives, as we live our lives to be peacemakers, sometimes we might need to mediate for some people. Sometimes we might learn how to keep our peace so that the conflicts won't escalate. And the examples I'm going to give to all of you would go across all levels. Like maybe it could be a family relationship, it could be in your workplace, it could be with your friends, with your spouse, with your kids. So the principles can be applied in any situation. So here are some tips, okay? Let's say somebody comes to you. How can you be a peacemaker? I have 7 points. First would be listen to their rants. Don't immediately tell them that they shouldn't get angry. Sometimes we have good friends and when they call, they're so angry, I'm so angry, they would just pour out everything. So when that happens, okay, you just listen. Because sometimes we want, as Christians, sometimes our tendency is, don't get angry, calm down, anger is a sin. This is the tip. You can do so after, take note, it's after you have listened. Because sometimes you don't even need to tell them, because after they've ranted, eventually they will cool down and say, "We're sorry, a while ago I was so harsh on you, but I'm really not angry at you, okay? Or I know that it's wrong, okay? Alam naman nila, they're Christians, okay? And I want you to realize that anger is actually a secondary emotion most of the time. What do I mean? It means that anger is the one that we see. But deep down inside, their first emotion was they were hurt. They were hurt. That's why they lashed out in anger. So maybe when somebody comes to you, what we can do is this one. We find out why they were hurt. We listen. Then let's say they're saying, let's say a church member hurt me so-and-so, or it's my dad, it's my mom. Please do not say anything negative about the other person. Even though, let's say you know that other person is really, let's say, hot-tempered. Don't say anything negative. Because once they reconcile, that person may say, oh, Jeanette said that you also have a bad temper. I was right. Patay na. They're gonna gang up on you, okay? So don't say anything negative about somebody else. And remember that you're only hearing one side of the story. You haven't heard the other side, and you might never get to hear it. So don't defend the other person immediately. Take note, the key word is immediately. Do not defend immediately. After listening, let's say that person has already ranted, at the end, sometimes I would say something like this: is it possible that that person acted this way was because blank? So I'm letting that other person think that, maybe there is something behind, what happened. So I want that person to think without saying negative things or letting that person feel that I'm siding with the other party. What if sometimes that person, in the process of ranting, they're cursing, they're saying bad words? Of course, as Christians, we don't encourage that, okay? It's a sin. So at the end, take note, it's at the end, I've listened, that person has already calmed down. I would say, when you were angry a while ago, I don't know if you've noticed, but you were saying bad words. And we know that as Christians, we shouldn't do so. So please, refrain from doing so no matter how angry you are. Because if you could do that to me, I'm afraid that in the height of your anger, you might get angry, or might curse somebody face to face. The goal of listening to them is allowing them to let their feelings out and to calm them down. So that after they've already talked to you, once they're calmed down, let's say it's the husband or the wife that they're angry at, when they go home, they would no longer be shouting at the husband or the wife or the kids. Tip number 2, teach them healthy ways of handling anger. My friends, anger is not a sin. Oh, you might be surprised. How come it's not a sin? Anger, okay, this emotion appeared in Genesis chapter 4, verse 5. That's the first time. The last time it appeared was in Revelation chapter 19, verse 15. Did you know that the Bible mentioned anger 455 times in the Old Testament and 375 times relates to God's anger? And we know that God is holy. God will never commit sin. So anger in itself is not a sin, because there's what we call righteous anger. And God's anger is what we call righteous anger. He's angry at the right person in the right way for the right reason. And most of the time when God is angry, it's because as human beings, we worship idols. We don't love him. What's the consequence if we do that? Let's say I don't worship the one real God. In the end, I'm the one who's going to suffer, right? I'm going to be the one who will end up in hell because I don't know the one true God. And that's why God is angry. So it's righteous anger. It's not for himself. But most of our anger are manifestations of our selfish nature. Sad to say, that's the reality. Take out most, because sometimes as human beings, we could also have righteous anger. And it's the wrong way of expressing anger that is considered sin. For instance, when we lash out, when we say bad words, when we slap someone, when we punch someone, we scratch, we throw things, we destroy the person's things. These are wrong ways of handling anger. These are sinful ways. Look at this picture. It says, dami kong gustong sabihin, pero, and then, sabi niya, oh, sige, i-delete all ko na lang. Wag ko na lang sabihin. So sometimes, we have the urge right now, especially with social media hype, we want to rant. I'm sure you've heard a lot of people ranting, especially after the election, okay? Or sometimes they're angry at somebody, or they feel there's an injustice. If you ask me, you just don't do that in social media. It would damage your own as well as that other person's reputation. Let's say you already apologize to that person, but how can you explain that to all the other people who have read your post? And then, let's say, when you apologize publicly in a public post, but they did not read it. Okay? Kawawa naman yung taong siniraan mo na reputation. So, let's not rant in social media. And when it's a husband-wife quarrel, please don't do this. Like this wife. Mom, he's late again and won't give me his phone to look at. So, nagselo siya. And then the husband calls up also his family and said, she's getting on my nerves. I give up. Please, for the husbands and wives who are here, when you're angry, please don't tell your own family members. Why? Because you're to say it's your sibling, it's your parents. They'll still get angry at your spouse, even though you have already patched things up. And please don't ever also rant towards the children, because the children will be caught in between. Okay? Let's say you're saying bad things about your spouse. So, which side should your child take? Di ba ang hirap? And if they sided with you, they would lose respect towards the other parents. And please, for the parents, don't use this like the parents would not talk to each other, and they would tell their kids, tell your dad to do this and do that. And then the dad would say, tell your mom. Di ba? Kawawa naman yung mga kids. So then let's not do that. And another negative way would be this. We use silent treatment, or we cancel someone. What's silent treatment? Like, I'm not going to speak to you for a year, 5 years, or I'm going to cancel you. I'm going to unfollow you and ask all my friends not to befriend you. If you look at this verse here in Ephesians 4:31, it says, get rid of all what? Bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. As Christians, we have to take all of this out. We're not perfect. It's not easy, but we have to ask God to help us do it. And there's another negative way of showing anger. It's but this is the pasimple type. It's called passive aggressive. Like let's say you're angry at your mom, Your mom asks you to do something, but you will deliberately procrastinate so that she'll get angrier and angrier while waiting. Kumbaga, gumaganti ka ng pasimple. And of course, worse would be you really get even. So please control your anger so that we could exhibit Christ-likeness. And there is always a choice. You can tell someone that you provoked me, it's your fault. That's why I got angry. No, all of us have a choice to give in to anger or not. So you also have to know how these people usually deal with anger. And then we suggest the healthy ways that I'm going to share with you guys. Like, here are some healthy ways. This one practice I do with my husband. Before a fight, we've already talked about this. We said, when we're angry at each other, it's best we don't talk first. Take note, this is not the silent treatment that we don't talk for a very, very long time. This is, we don't talk while we're angry. Let's talk once we've calmed down. We're not angry because I or he might say something, okay, that would hurt. Then you pray for patience. Pray, okay, deep inside, you pray, Lord, please grant me patience. Or maybe another way is to take deep breaths, okay, and inhale, exhale, okay, or you can do that while praying or mentally counting 1 to 10. Because when you're doing that, you're not talking, you're not saying anything negative. Or you could take a time out or step away, just like this matches. Once you take a step away, it would prevent the entire matches from continuously burning. It's preventing a fight. Sometimes it would be good to take a time. Let's say you can tell that person, let's talk later. Think twice before answering a question that has potential to burn a bridge or close a door. So think twice. Because sometimes when we're angry, because remember, you got hurt first, right? That's why you're angry. And the tendency as human beings, we want to hurt that person back. That's our sinful nature. So think twice, because sometimes we might destroy a relationship, a friendship, a marital relationship, your relationship with your parents, with your spouse, with a relative, with a colleague, with a church friend. Let's not do that. Sayang. And you can use this turtle treatment. Step 1, recognize your feelings. Like, you've already recognized, okay, I'm starting to get angry, I'm agitated. I think I better step out, okay? That's recognizing your feelings. So step 2, you stop your body. Because sometimes if you don't stop, just like Will Smith, he wasn't able to stop. He just went up the stage, he slapped Chris Rock. He didn't think of the consequence. That's why, okay, he had to suffer all of those. So you stop your body, okay, control, okay, don't say anything, don't do anything rash. And then step 3, tuck inside your shell and take deep breath. It means that you retreat. Maybe you go to the CR, you go inside your room where you're alone, okay? And then you only come out, okay, when you're calm, and then think of a solution on how to resolve the situation. What else can you do? Talk, and you can encourage your friends to talk to, take note, other trusted friends. Why did I say that? Because imagine, can you, sometimes, especially you guys, if you're not trained to be a counselor, it gets draining, okay? To imagine that person calls you every day, saying the same problem again and again, ranting about the same problem again, you'll get drained. So encourage that other person. After listening, let's say 1 time or twice, and then that person still keeps calling them, but you're already drained, right? You have your own problems. You can nicely, it's the same whether the problem is depression, anxiety, whatever the problem is, you can nicely tell your friend, like, oh, I'm sorry, but right now I'm busy. Can you look for other friends to talk to instead? I've already talked to you twice, right? So encourage that friend to talk to other trusted friends. These are other healthy ways of dealing with anger. Playing soothing music, dancing, exercise, because you have a lot of pent-up energy. Playing sports, basketball, computer games. Take note when I say this, of course, not to the point of addiction, okay? It's okay to play computer games, watch Netflix, relax, but not to the point of getting addicted. Eating ice cream or your favorite comfort food also makes us happy. Buy something you like, something that you can afford. And you can also write in your journal. I write in my journal every day, whatever I'm feeling. And of course, the things that I've learned from God. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9 says, keep your temper under control. It is foolish to harbor a grudge. So third tip, encourage them to forgive. Colossians 3:13 says, bear with each other and forgive one another. If any one of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. Okay? So let's learn to forgive. Do not hold grudges. Unforgiveness adversely affects our health, our physical and emotional health. And then afterwards, it affects other relationships. You find it hard to trust other people. And then because you're always angry, of course, some people don't want to be around you. So, of course, when we encourage other people to forgive, let's also give them time. Some people, they need time to process. They can't, for them, they find it hard to immediately, forgive. And of course, as Christians, we remind them that forgiveness is an act of obedience. We're doing this because God says so, because we love God and we obey Him. So let's pray for God's help. Lord, it's so hard to forgive this unlovable person. Okay, sa lahat ng tao, ito lang talagang hindi ko matake. Please help me. Just be honest, God will help us. And remember how much God forgave us. He forgave us while what does the Bible say? Romans 5:8. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Christ did not ask us to change first before He will forgive. Christ did not shun us away because we're all sinners. No. Instead, He already forgave us and is just waiting for us to come to Him and accept Him as our Lord and Savior. So in the same way, let's ask God to help us to have that kind of supernatural love and unconditional acceptance towards others. So one way we can do that besides praying is think of that person's positive qualities. Because when you're so angry at somebody, sa totoo lang, wala kang mahanap na maganda. Because you're angry, right? But for you to be able to forgive, you focus even only one positive quality. Like maybe that person helped you once. Focus on that one time. Don't keep on dwelling on the 99 times that he hurt you, okay? You focus on that one time na lang, okay? Remember, we need to forgive, even if he or she did not apologize. This is not easy, forgiving somebody who has not apologized. But people who are, let's say in the Asian context, people who are older, our parents, our grandparents, our boss, no, very few would ask for forgiveness. So you have to learn how to forgive, even if they don't apologize. Or sometimes that person didn't know that he or she has hurt us. Or maybe that person hasn't changed. You said, why should I forgive? That person hasn't changed. Remember, you haven't changed either when God has already forgiven us. So forgive first. And forgive even if you don't feel like it. There are many times that we don't feel like loving, don't like forgiving, but that is a command. It's not a matter of feeling, it's a matter of obedience. Fourth, teach them how to confront in love. Sometimes we need to speak the truth in love, according to Ephesians 4:15. So I'm going to teach you the feedback burger, or this is, if you notice, feedback burger. There are two pieces of bread, okay, represents a positive feedback, positive, constructive, and then end with something positive. You do that in private, one-on-one. Don't do that in front of so many people, okay? That would embarrass the person. Then you use I statements. Later, I'm going to give you an example. Because when you use I statement, you're just sharing how you feel. So you're not attacking that person, and that person would feel less defensive. And please don't use adverbs like never or always. You're always like that. You're never like that. That would agitate another person. Be specific. Share why you got hurt or angry, just like this. That one that's X, that's the you statement. You always ruin everything. But look at the husband. The husband is angry, and because the wife was pointing fingers, shouting, and then she's using you statement. So that husband got defensive. But look at the right side. It's the right way. She's not shouting. She's not pointing finger. And look at her okay, her face, okay. She's not angry. Her eyebrows, okay, she's calm. And then she used an I statement. When you do something like this, it hurts me. So look at the husband's face. He's not defensive. He's not angry. He's listening. Another way would be, let's say, don't hurt your brother. Okay, we're angry, di ba? Kasi Maybe this kid, nasapak na yung kapatid niya. But, and then the child kept crying. But what if it's the other kid who first hit him and he hit back? Okay, mga ganon, di ba? So, what this mother did instead, she said, use a nice statement. I understand that you're upset, but you can't hit your brother. So that would have a better effect. Okay, so you use I statement. Sandwich style. Okay, let me show you how I use sandwich style. Let's say there was once, okay, I had a fight with Hans. So it goes something like this, positive. Always start with something positive. So positive, negative, positive, positive. Okay, Hans, I appreciate you that you're a very kind and a loving husband. And then I'm going to the negative. Don't use but. Because when you use but, you erase all the good things you said in front, right? So you said, and I would appreciate it if you would come on time. Next time we're going to go out. This isn't the first time this happened. I let you off the hook the first 3 times, but it's still bothering me. And then I also, positive, right? Then I said, I know I'm also not a perfect wife. If there's something that you want me to change, please tell me. No matter what happens, I love you very much, or I'm blessed to have you as my husband. Something like that. So positive, negative, positive. Okay? 5, the 5th one. Teach them how to set boundaries. Be assertive, not aggressive, because that's a continuum. Okay? This kind of anger style, it's a continuum. It could be, or sometimes the personality, okay? It's also the passive people, they're the yes people. They just accept everything. They're in this corner. On the other extreme corner are the aggressive people. They fight for their rights. They're really going to fight. And sometimes they step on other people's toes. But what we should, as Christians, if you ask me, we shouldn't be an either. We should be in the middle. And that's being assertive. It means that, of course, we have to protect ourselves. We protect our rights, but we do it nicely. Okay? We don't step on other people's toes or hurt other people along the way. Let's say you have an irresponsible office mate who keeps dumping workload on the person that you're talking to, your mentee. Then you teach your mentee, and then she's already angry. That person keeps on dumping her workload, but she's not doing anything. She's just playing, or she's in Facebook, in Instagram all the time. Oh. But this person is very passive, your mentee, the one that you're talking to who's angry. Then you teach her, next time when this colleague tells you to do that, then just nicely, take out nicely, you're not going to shout. Nicely said, I'm sorry, I can't help you this time. I'm still busy with other tasks. Okay? So just say no. Or what if somebody has a bad habit of borrowing money and not paying back? And it's not a legit need. It's a mismanagement of funds. And then that you've been victimized several times already. Then just say no. I'm sorry, look at this picture. I care about you, but I'm not able to give you more money. So set boundaries. What about if it's a physical abuse in the family? These are things, okay, that you could think about. This is a real story, okay? It's published in the newspaper, in the news. Molly Sites was only 29 when she was beaten black and blue. That's October 2019. In cases like this, if you ask me, I would tell the person that I'm talking to opt for temporary separation. What is temporary separation? It's physical. I'm not asking you to file a petition for separation. No. This is a temporary physical separation. This is to protect the spouse and the kids from being killed. It could also apply to a husband who's being battered. It could be the husband, okay? Right now, we have very, very confusing values, okay? So even there are also battered husbands. So when that happens, opt for temporary separation, okay. And then let's say, what is my goal? It's reconciliation. What do I mean by that? Because let's say we temporarily separate. Let's say Molly came to you for an advice. And then you saw her, okay, oh no, she's already in the hospital. So the advice would be, you don't go home. Or if you go home, the husband cannot come home first, okay? Because you're beaten black and blue now. Of course, we want them to be reconciled, but there are conditions. Let's say we already asked them to temporarily separate, even for Christians. This is the same, it's same. Sad to say it happens in Christian families too. So let's say the husband of Molly, okay, after being separated for 1 week, 2 weeks, he missed his wife and the family. And he realized it's wrong. So he would come to Molly and said, Molly, I'm sorry. Can we get back together? No. I'm going to tell Molly, no. You don't accept him immediately. He has to undergo counseling for anger management. And then Molly, and also with the husband, has to undergo couple counseling. And the family, because the kids will also are traumatized. Okay? If they're not, if they don't know how to handle it, they might become bullies in school. If the dad, let's say, is also, let's say, bullying them. So, and then maybe we have to teach Molly and the kids how to set boundaries, something like that. But what if the husband doesn't want to cooperate? If that's the case, then we get a restraining order to protect the family. So that means they cannot come near Molly for, let's say, how many meters, something like that, or have him blotted. Okay, so we can take note. We can set boundaries like this to protect, okay, the victim. Sixth, mediate when appropriate. Sometimes we might need to mediate. Let's say that Molly said, "Oh, Ati Camille, can you mediate for us?" Then you pray. You pray and think if you are the best person to serve as a mediator. If you ask me, even if somebody comes to me, sometimes I'm not the best because, let's say, if I know that that person doesn't respect me or won't listen to me, I would say no. I think you need somebody older, because I don't think your husband or your wife is going to listen to me, something like that. But if I believe I can, I would be the mediator. But please do not take sides. Look at this picture. The guy said, I cannot stay in the same room as you any longer. The right way would be, I do not want to talk about it right now. I need to be alone. So in cases like this, you might also, while mediating, you might want to know, oh, how does each one of them want to be pacified? It means that when they're angry, what do they want the other person to do for them? For instance, in this case, the guy needs space. Okay, but of course we have to teach them not to walk out because that's rude. You just walk out? No. You can say, okay, let's not talk about it right now. Let's talk later. So take a time out and both of them have to agree. Like, how long? You can tell me that, okay, let's talk about this after 1 week. No, that's too long. But what if somebody said, but I need 1 week. But the other party said, no, I want to talk about it now. Diba? There are some people who want to resolve the matter now. So they have to meet halfway. So maybe they agreed, okay, after 3 hours. Basta for me, better not to last the entire day. Okay, talk before they go to sleep. Diba sabi sa Bible, do not let the sun go down on your anger. And then, of course, some people naman, when they're angry, they want space. They want to be alone. Some people, when they're angry, they want na, amo-amuhi mo, huwag ka na magalit, oh, don't get angry, I'm sorry yun. So it depends. Okay, so let them know. The last one would be encourage them to apologize and to forgive. So sometimes we need to swallow our pride and apologize on why we have on how we have contributed to the conflict. And please, when you apologize, don't make excuses for wrong behavior. Don't say something like, I'm sorry I shouted at you, but you made me so angry. That's not an apology. You're blaming somebody else. The correct way would be, I yelled at you and I shouldn't. I'm sorry for that. That is a sincere apology. And let me show you some steps to an apology. Like, maybe you can say something like, I'm sorry for blank. What did you do? Then be specific. Like, I'm sorry for, let's say, I'm sorry for forgetting your birthday, or I'm sorry for taking your thing without, let's say you're taking your, let's say, iPad or something without asking for permission. Then number 2, it was wrong because blank. Yun. Next time I will. So it means you want to change. And the last one you can ask, will you please forgive me? So look at this picture, the mom. I didn't mean to say that. I'm really sorry. I'm encouraging all the parents who are here, be humble enough to apologize, even to those who are younger. And I'm going to tell you, they won't look down on you, but they would respect you all the more. Diba? A lot of us also listen to other sermons from other churches like CCF. We know that this Pastor, one time when we were there, Pastor Peter Tanchi would openly share how he would apologize to his wife, to his kids, whenever he's wrong. So he shows people that I'm a pastor, I'm somebody older, but I do that, right? So then the people who are younger would do likewise. So, or maybe you can give a peace offering. Proverbs 21:14 says, if someone is angry with you, give them a gift in private. A gift given in secret will calm even the strongest anger. Like maybe let's say you had a fight with a family member. Then bring that person's favorite food. Di ba? Or something that it's a peace offering. And remember, it takes only one to forgive. Like, I can forgive. Lord, I choose to forgive. Even, let's say that person didn't apologize. But for reconciliation, it takes two. That person has to forgive you. So I hope that when you apologize, that person will also forgive you. There's a picture of my parents, my family. We have a small family. Of course, the ones seated in the sofa would be my parents. This year they're in their 79th. They're now 79 years old this year. So we thank God before the pandemic, we were able, a few weeks before the pandemic, we were able to go to Taiwan, or before the lockdown. We were able to go to Taiwan to celebrate my parents' 50th anniversary. If you asked me before, is this picture possible? I would say no. I came from a non-Christian family. I was the first Christian in my family. And when I was a teenager, my parents kept fighting all the time. I thought that they're gonna have a divorce. I was around 15. I was 15 when I became a Christian. So growing up, it was not. Of course, there were happy moments, but there were also a lot of fighting in the family. So it was a very rocky time for us. But I thank God because I saw how God worked in my family. How after I became a Christian, my two younger brothers became Christians, and my parents eventually also came to know Jesus, and the healing started. So God transformed our family. So let me share with you a brief testimony. Like I told you, I was the first Christian, but my parents were, sorry to say, they are, how can you say that? They're against Christianity. So after they learned I became a Christian and that I wanted to go to YGC every week, I want to attend fellowship, I want to read the Bible every day. They confiscated my Bible. I couldn't read the Bible. So thank God for the Gideon's Bible. Okay, I know that our brother Lawrence, okay, he's very active in Gideon. And I am very, very grateful for the ministry of Gideon's because I will get a Gideon's Bible. I was given one. I never studied in a Christian school. At the time, I was already at Chiang Kai-shek College, a non-sectarian school. So every year they give out a Bible. I think when the students are in their first year high school. So I got one, and thank God I got one. So that's what I put in my pajama. I would go to the CR just to read it. And then once a week, at that time, we have 2 hours lunch break. I would sneak out of the school and then go to Bible study and go back by 2 o'clock because 2 o'clock we have Chinese classes. So I did not skip classes, but I just used my lunch break to go for Bible study once a week. Okay. And I would also listen to FEBC 702. At that time, there's no internet. Okay. So you can't just listen to sermons online. So thank God for radio ministry. So that's how I grew as a Christian. And then 1 year after I became a Christian, problems ensue. My mom nearly died at the age of 45. I was 16. Okay. What happened was my mom had aneurysm. She underwent 2 brain operations and then she was in coma for 1.5 months. And when she woke up, she was half paralyzed. She had to use half paralyzed. That means she can't even open her mouth. She can eat. She's using the NGT for eating. And before that, she already had a very bad temper. I'm allergic to my mom. She gets angry easily. I don't like to be around her. We have a very strained relationship because, of course, I was a teenager at that time. I was a 1-year-old Christian. But it was during those times that God convicted me. How can I bring my parents to Christ if I'm not a good example? Like, let's say, my mom, I was baiting her because I'm the eldest. I did not come from a very rich Christian family, a rich Chinese family. We're middle class, and with my mom's sickness, we used up all the savings. So we thank God for all the people who have helped us. Financially, we have a lot of problems. And then on top of that, my mom, of course, was very frustrated. She can't move. She can't talk. So she got angrier all the more. So of course, when I'm serving her, I'm giving her a bath, doing things for her as a teenager, she gets angry. I also get angry. She shouts at me. I shout back. I would walk out. I would slam the door out. Of course, all of these are rude things. So one day I was reading a book about the fruit of the Holy Spirit. God convicted me. Jeanette, what you're doing is wrong because I'm not a good example. So the book inspired me to think. The book said, what is one thing you don't like about your mom? The number one thing I don't like about her is that when I'm serving her, I'm being good to her, I should be having fun. I'm a teenager. And then she's shouting at me and she hurts me. Sometimes she hurts me physically. So uh, the book said, the next time this happened, what is a better way to handle it? So I said, okay, the next time that happens, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to pray for wisdom. I'm just going to recite a Bible verse, okay, to calm myself. And that really happened. So the next week, of course, practice. It happened. She got angry again. Of course, I had to say there were times that I also failed, but because I was more intentional, God was helping me. I learned to control my temper. I don't shout. And I realized one thing, because sometimes when she shouts, I shout, okay, with a higher voice. She raised her voice. They know she cannot talk. She just, she would just say something like that. So it's a shouting match. But when God, okay, changed me first, so she shouts, I don't shout, my mom would calm down. Yun. So God changed me first, because you know my prayer before, God changed her. In my mind, she's mean. I'm not the one who's bad. She's mean. But God changed me first. And because God changed me first, God eventually also changed my mom, and our relationship started to improve. So I thank God for that. So this picture was taken during my wedding. I got married very late in life. I got married at the age of 40. So thank God that my mom is still alive. She was given a second lease in life. And indeed, Proverbs 15:1 says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So in conclusion, we're all called to be peacemakers. So let's listen to the rants of other people, teach them healthy ways of handling anger, encourage them to forgive, teach them how to confront in love, teach them how to set boundaries, mediate when appropriate, and encourage them to apologize and to forgive. And lastly, I couldn't talk about everything here, but during the pandemic, God moved me to start my own YouTube channel called Adjusting Your Heart. Adjusting without the D, okay, AJ, because my nickname is actually Jeanette. Okay, I'm not using pastor as a title, but doc. Why? Because my desire is these videos are also for the non-Christians. That's why I don't, it's not super, I don't use the super Christian lingo or all about Bible, but it's a mix. Of course, everything's biblical. Like, it's all about mental health and relationships. And I hope that through this channel, please pray for it, that it will also reach the non-Christians. Like, I talk about what to do after a clash with your colleague. Actually, it's a series like a clash with your child, a teenager, your spouse, your in-laws. And then what to do when someone gossips about you. Help, I'm single and lonely. Or help, I'm single. I know, I'm married but still lonely. Or 5 things you can do to ease your depression. 10 things you can do to calm your anxiety. Okay, so you can check that out.